Hey, happy birthday month to all my Sagittariuses out there. This is ViLo Energy Healing. Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a general reading for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs for the month of December. Now, these messages may not resonate with every Sagittarius out there, so please just take what resonates with you and leave out the rest. Also, stay tuned for your bonus info that's going to be coming up after this. All right, Sagittarius, let's see what we have for you this month. Let's see here. You know, you've been trying to keep a good attitude, okay? But honestly, you're just tired of getting your hopes up just to be let down again. You know, you feel checked out. The stuff you used to get excited about, I don't know, it's just not doing it for you anymore. You know, it's exhausting trying to convince yourself that things will magically get better when nothing is actually changing. You know, at this point, you stopped believing because life kept disappointing you. Right? You gave up on yourself before anyone else did. This month isn't about pretending everything's fine, okay? It's about finally deciding that you're not accepting the bare minimum from yourself or anybody else for that matter. You know, there's something good already around you, or at least about to show up, okay? That's gonna remind you what real happiness actually feels like, right? You're finally gonna see a situation for what it really is, and it's gonna give you more clarity than you've had in a long time. You know, this month is basically exposing who actually brings you peace and who drains the life out of you without even trying. Okay, you can't keep pretending this is fine when you know damn well you're built for better. Okay, and honestly, once December throws the truth in your face, you're not going to be able to ignore all the bullshit that you've been settling for. You know, your biggest block right now is how tired you are of fighting the same battles. Okay? You're worn out, you're guarded, and you're ready to give up before you even start. Okay? You keep expecting every situation to hurt you like the last one did, right? But not everything is an attack, okay? You're so used to being disappointed that you just shut down before things even have a chance to work. Okay? You call it protecting your peace. But sometimes you're just blocking your own blessings because you don't want to get hurt again. Okay? You can't keep saying you're over it when you haven't actually healed it. Okay? So either you face it and move on, or you just stay stuck in the same burnout cycle. You know, there's this fear of not being enough or not being truly seen for what you bring to the table. Okay, you may feel like maybe your wins haven't been recognized or like people misunderstand your intentions. Okay, this has made you constantly doubt yourself. You hate feeling like you're trying and still not getting the credit or the results that you deserve. Okay, that silent resentment has been buried inside, okay, making you question if you're even on the right path. Okay, you have to stop needing validation from people who don't even understand your vision. Your success starts with how seriously you take yourself. You know, you had chances to grow, to learn, or build something for yourself. Okay, but for whatever reason, I don't know, it didn't stick. Maybe you got distracted, or you lost motivation, or just kept saying, you know, I'll start later, so many times until you stopped believing it yourself. Okay, you might still feel guilty or annoyed at yourself for not doing more with those opportunities. But beating yourself up won't fix it, right? It's time to just figure out what you actually want to commit to and stop making excuses, all right? Either you learn from it and do things differently, or you keep watching everyone else do what you keep putting off. You know, right now, your mind is sharp and on high alert. Right? You're watching people's words, actions, and social media. You're quietly observing more than you're actually speaking. And that's exactly how you're catching what used to get past you. Okay? You may be asking more questions, doing more research, or wanting honest conversations instead of guessing. You want truth. You want clarity and straight answers. Okay? Especially in relationships, work, or plans for your future. Okay, you're done ignoring red flags. You see through people's BS and you're not afraid to say, you know what, that doesn't sit right with me anymore. You need to trust your intuition instead of letting people gaslight you. You know, pretty soon, things may feel like they slow down, okay? Or maybe they don't move as fast as you want them to. Messages might take longer, plans may change, or things could just feel delayed. That doesn't mean nothing is happening, okay? It means that you are moving too fast for your own good. You need to stop running on autopilot and actually think about what you're doing and why. Right? Don't rush into the next thing out of frustration. If you keep trying to push everything through on your timing, you're just gonna stress yourself out for no reason. You know, you've noticed that your own thinking is what held you back. Okay, and now you're not falling into that, you know, defeated mindset anymore where you say to yourself, I can't do anything about it. Okay, you're getting out of your own head and you're questioning the stories that you used to tell yourself. Okay, you finally see that staying stuck and complaining about it was actually easier than changing. And you're not doing that anymore, right? You're calling yourself out on your own BS and you're actually doing something about it, right? You've made up your mind. Right? You're not living like that anymore. You know, there's someone around you or coming in who actually wants a real connection. Okay, this could be love, friendship, or even a business relationship. Okay, that feels genuine and mutual. Right? Their energy shows up as like supportive, calm, and consistent. Okay, way more mature than what you're used to. You're about to see the difference between people who just like being around you and people who are actually down for you. Right? You're going to see how low your standards were in the past, in your past relationships. Believe it or not, you know, real effort from both sides actually does exist. All right? And you're going to realize that you never needed to chase anyone to get it. You know, I get it. You want a fresh start. We want more excitement, something that's, I don't know, something that actually makes you feel happy again. But at the same time, you're scared of starting over and not knowing what you're doing. And, you know, that makes you nervous. You may worry about, I don't know, maybe looking inexperienced or too late or not ready. You don't want to embarrass yourself or feel like you wasted your time. Okay? But you can't stay in the same place and expect your life to just magically feel different. Okay? If you want that passion back, you've got to be willing to risk being uncomfortable again. Okay? Listen, by the end of December, you're done dealing with unstable people and situations. Okay? Your energy feels more grounded, focused, and secure. You're going to be building something real. Okay? Whether it's money, stability, a relationship, or long-term plans. Right? You're going to be thinking ahead and only choosing what actually is going to help your future. Right? You're going to step into that, you know, bossed up version of yourself who knows exactly what they bring to the table. Okay, in 2026, you're going to have stronger boundaries, higher standards, and a mindset that says, you know what? I know my worth, and I'm not settling for anything less. All right, guys. Hey, Sagittarius, ViLo Energy Healing. Welcome back to part 2 of your reading. All right, this is going to be your bonus info for the month of December. All right, so let's start off with some timing windows. And now, as always, I'm going to start from the beginning of the month and work my way towards the end of the month. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, so December 3rd to the 7th. Okay, so this is when you finally see the truth about someone's behavior, okay? Now, the 12th to the 18th, okay, that's when a big change in communication happens, okay? Someone reaches out, apologizes, comes clean, or just opens up. The 22nd to the 30th, okay, that's when things calm down, okay? You start to feel more stable, more confident, and more in control. All right, let me just see here. All right, so now zodiac signs that are showing up in your reading. Okay, this could be somebody you're dealing with. It doesn't have to be, guys. Don't get too fixated on the signs. You could be dealing with any sign. Let's see here. Picking up, looks like Leo, Gemini, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. Okay. All right. Now, some symbols that you might be seeing, but possibly ignoring. I was picking up on 111. Okay. That has to do with realignment. Okay. You realigning with what's good for you. 222. That talks about balance in a connection or a relationship. 444. That has to do with protection. You're being protected while something's changing. 1010. Okay. 1010 is about big cycles ending and new cycles beginning. I'm also seeing the color yellow. That has to do with confidence and clarity. Okay. Some of you are seeing keys. Okay. That has to do with access to information or opportunities. Okay. Some of you are seeing rain. Okay. That has to do with emotional release. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up some initials. Okay. It could be your name, their name, first name, last name, place it how you see fit. Okay. I have M, A, J, C, L, S, K, R, T, and D. All right, guys, that's what I have for you today. If you're enjoying my bonus info and you want me to continue this way, just hit the like button or leave me a quick comment to let me know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, sending you love and light.